You guys are going to have to pardon the casual attire. I just got out of a suit. And no, it's not because I had court today. That's next week. But it's because we had Caleb Savant from Brownells in, and we wanted to look extra sharp. We talked gunsmithing, content creation, bad comments, good coffee, and how his kitchen has the best gumbo in Iowa. So join us for this week's The Gun Rack. Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of The Gun Rack, SDI's podcast on everything firearms related industry stuff. You might notice I'm in a suit and the co-host, Steve Ross, he's also in a suit. Show him how good you look, Steve. Right?
It almost didn't fit.
Yeah, my shirt, I actually just cut the front of a shirt and then pasted it on my chest because I cannot fit in any dress clothes anymore because I'm fat. So anyway, the reason we're dressed up is we have a very dapper gentleman as a guest today. So we wanted to show our respect. And that's Mr. Caleb Savant himself. Say hello.
Hello. And I definitely appreciate the effort at dapperness. So it didn't go unnoticed.
Okay. Thank you. I hope, we're wearing tuxes. It's crazy.
No.
All right.
I went
Caleb.
through every drawer in my house to find enough hair gel just to get this meeting.
All right.
Do
Well,
you
you
have
nailed
like
it. 4
things of hair gel, like empty things? You just had to put a quick finger in? I don't know. Let's Anyway, like we said, casual, Caleb. So Caleb, for folks who don't know you, and from the people who watch our podcast, it might be like 2 people. But tell us a little bit about what you do and how you would describe what you do in the firearms world.
Yeah. So I am I still introduce myself as a gunsmith, but my technical title here at Brownells is Senior Video and Studio Supervisor. So I basically own everything video here at Brownells, especially on the educational side of things. So if you've seen a video on the Brownells YouTube channel, if I wasn't in it, I still definitely had a hand in it. So that's me.
Well, that's great because I have noticed like Brownells content has always been good, but in the last few years, maybe it's your involvement, it has definitely stepped up. You guys have some really incredible content coming out.
Yeah, we've and I'll say since my involvement, we've kind of stepped up our game as far as not just the educational side of things, but keeping up with the trends and being educational. Whereas before it was just kind of, just throwing out educational content here and there. But now we've really kind of stepped up our game and try to answer questions that people are actually asking.
And I know on your personal YouTube channel, you've kind of gone through like your background, how you became a gunsmith,
yes,
all that. But the content creation side, how did that kind of come about?
So that was weird. I have absolutely no background in content creation at all. I didn't even have social media when I started at Brownells. So it was one of those situations where they needed somebody in a video. So they tried me out in a video and I did okay. I go back and watch it now and it was absolutely terrible. But it was okay. And then they put me in another one and another one and another one. And that's kind of how it evolved. It was something I wasn't actually like seeking out to try to do. It's something I just kind of fell into and ran with.
Do you feel like more and more companies, especially in the firearms industry, do want content creators that have, maybe they do want a credential, maybe a credential is not required, but man, does it really help having all that gun experience and being a content creator in our industry?
Oh, 100%. There's, especially people in our industry, they can tell when someone's faking it, So everything, like for example, everything we do here comes off super genuine because there's no scripts. We just have an idea, we turn on the cameras, and then we just start talking like we're actually talking to you, And that way it comes off as just us being knowledgeable. We're actually like trying to share that knowledge, right? Whereas when you get someone who's just a content creator, they don't really know the gun or know the gun industry, or someone trying to make gunsmith videos that's not a gunsmith, it's pretty easy to tell. And not only that, but it requires a lot of time and preparation on their part, and they're going to basically have to kind of script it out and it's not going to come off as genuine. It may still be good content. It's just not going to be genuine content, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Well, like Christian and me, we are gun guys, and we're on the marketing team. We're certainly not gunsmiths. And then we also have we have subject matters here at SDI that are gunsmiths. Some of them are master level gunsmiths, but they also don't want to be on camera in the sense of making social media content. Like, they don't mind teaching a class. They're incredible instructors, but it's totally different going from education, entertainment, combining that into one thing. You have kind of found that spot, and you're really good at it. So
yeah, and my thing to other gunsmiths who enjoy teaching that don't want to be on camera, just like, I always try and urge them to just do it. Just turn on the camera, forget it's there, and then just do your thing. And you'd be surprised how good it actually comes out.
I've told a couple of gunsmiths, especially ones that I know have like really interesting jobs, or like I've had those conversations where they can just describe what they're doing in a really unique way. I'm like, hey, just put a camera almost on your head, just walk around your shop all day, film everything you can. And if 10 people watch it, oh well, but I think you'll build yourselves up. Like, if you're, like you said, if you're just original to what you can deliver and you have that ability to just be yourself, you'll find the following.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things where everyone kind of has their own vibe. So a lot of times people feel like, well, I don't want to do it because there's already so many of those videos out there. Well, it's like, if you make it yours will be unique, and you'll have a unique following. It may not be a massive following, but it's still going to be enough to make it worth it. Like, if I do, let's say, for example, if I do a video on how to install a handguard, right? And it only gets, I'd say on the low end for Brownells, will probably, if it only gets like 3,000 or 4,000 views, that's like, think about that. Like, picture a room with 4,000 people in it that you're teaching, right? That's a lot of people. That is a massive amount of people. So I think whenever we see it as a number on a screen, we kind of lose that connection. But like, that's what I try to tell people. Like, oh, I got, this video for, the last 3 years only got 1 million views. It's like, okay, picture a football stadium with 1 million people in it. That's how many people watched your video.
Yeah. That's such a confidence booster.
Yeah.
Right. And I know you're one of the guys who actually goes through the comments and comments back. What are there a few comments that just really hit you hard, and either positive or negative? I know you do the bad tweets kind of thing, the mean comments thing, but what are some of the good ones you've seen?
Yeah, so there's a lot of good ones. The majority of them are actually good, because here's what you need to remember when you're creating content. The majority of your comments are probably going to be good if you're actually like paying attention and doing it right, which is super easy to do. And you are always going to get negative comments. So the thing you have to remember, especially when you're making educational content, the negative comments you get, like the content you created wasn't even for them, because you're creating educational content. They didn't like it. It wasn't for them. So what does it matter? And that's how you have to approach it. Like, you'll get like the vague comment of like, oh, this video sucked. You needed a closer view or whatever. It's just weird stuff like that. But on the flip side of that, you had, for every one bad comment you get, you probably get, like 50 to 100 good ones on average. That's kind of like my average as far as ratio goes on both my personal and the Brownells channel. So the important thing to remember is like that content was never for that person, because they were not going to like it no matter what you did. The internet is full of people just out there to stir it up, man, to start drama. So
No. Really?
yeah, believe it or not. Yeah, you guys definitely know a little bit about that. So, yeah.
Now, go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, so Caleb, if you could go back and talk to Caleb 15 years ago, before your formal gunsmithing training, before you even thought about, being a content creator, what piece of advice, or what would you even tell yourself, like, man, keep doing this? You don't know how important it's going to be years down the road.
Yeah, so like me that long ago, so I started gunsmithing as a working apprentice. I'm traditionally trained in 2012. So if I were to go back and talk to Caleb in 2012 and like tell him where I was, he wouldn't believe it. The piece of advice I would probably give myself is to just lean more into social media and content creation earlier on, because there's no telling where I'd be right now if I just embraced that from the get-go, you know?
Yeah. Mine would be invest in a flannel company because, man, you influencers love your flannel.
Look, those flannel companies know how to market. Like these Dixon flannels, man, they're super nice.
I wouldn't know, but you know, if Dixon wanted to maybe send me a couple, I mean, I wouldn't hate it, but
I mean, they're in Arizona.
right. Now, actually, I was in a Dixon store the other day, or in front of a Dixon store, taking a picture of the Dixon truck.
Well, you
for a
gotta
big
get
Dixon
inside
fan.
of
Yeah,
the Dixon store.
I was-
That's where they keep their clothes, inside.
I was trying to get the wife some lunch, but I just happened to be there. We were talking about it, but I will.
It
I will
would be cool to
step
do
in.
a Dixon SDI collab. Like what
Yeah,
Brownells.
it would be. Yep.
Nice red, white, and black kind of. Let's do it. We're the marketing team. We can make that happen.
We can figure it out.
You can.
Caleb, other than the content creation, I mean, like you said, you're a gunsmith. Are you working on weekly projects, or do you still do that kind of stuff? Do you have your own shop?
So, no, actually, and on the personal side, I don't really do any gunsmithing for the public either. I'm just way too busy. But on the Brownell side of things, everything I work on and everything I do is for video-related projects or my personal guns. A lot of the guns you actually see in Brownell's videos are our personal firearms that we're working on, and we just decide to turn on the camera while we're doing it. So we get a little bit of freedom there as far as what content we get to create. So no, we actually don't do a whole lot of gunsmithing at all for, let's say, like the public and stuff like that.
So Caleb, you've gone the route. You've done the apprenticeships, right? You've done traditional in-person on-campus gunsmithing school.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
You've graduated from online gunsmithing schools. Obviously,
have, yep.
you value training and education. Why is that so important? Why didn't you just do one of those things and then stop and say that's enough? I can do this. Good enough. Why do you keep pursuing the further education of your skill of your trade?
So the firearm trade itself, it's so vast and so massive. There's not enough time in a lifetime to learn everything about it. So if you're gonna be an expert in the industry, you got to keep continuing that education, keep pushing that knowledge. So like me being a traditional trained gunsmith, I started just by reading every gunsmithing book I could get my hands on. Then when I started working at Brownells, we actually went to other gunsmithing schools like Pennsylvania Gunsmith School, Murray State College, Trinidad, Montgomery. Those are just to name a few. So Brownells actually travels around and guest teaches classes at those schools. And I was fortunate enough to be one of those guest instructors. So and that's where I really saw most of the value in it, was actually going and spending time with the students and being able to like teach them something I know, even though I didn't go to an on-campus gunsmith school. But here I am teaching these kids at an on-campus gunsmith school. You know, it's absolutely wild. And it's extremely humbling, but at the same time, it's like that's where I see all of the value, because because I went to so many different schools, they're all teaching something a little bit different. You could get a gunsmithing degree from like every gunsmith school in the country and learn something different at every one of them. It's absolutely wild.
Well, when you're teaching these kids, you know, what's the biggest lesson? What do you want them to take away?
To continue the education, man. Don't stop learning when you get your degree. Because that's the biggest mistake. That's where most gunsmiths fail. They finish the schooling, they think they know everything, and they bite off more than they can chew, and then they just get overwhelmed. But you got to continue that education.
Is everything on your set real?
Oh, yeah, 100%. This is where we actually do gun work.
Like you open up a cabinet in the back, it's just not full of junk and hiding things. Or
No, those are
junk.
full of like reloading equipment and stuff like that. So yeah, it's all everything here is functional.
Is it a real set or is it a real room? Like, is that door behind you a real door that goes into another room, or is that just a fake wall?
That door opens up, but it goes to behind the set, right? So this studio was built to be a video studio, so it's a purpose-built studio. It's
So
just
you're
full
on,
of
like, sound
gunsmithing
stage.
stuff. What's that?
Is it like a sound stage? Like that's your set behind you? You have cameras, lights, everything in front of you?
Yeah. We need to do like a tour or something so y'all can actually see what we're working with here. But yeah, it's like an actual set, but everything's functional, if that makes sense.
It must be nice. It must
It
be
is.
nice.
It's very nice, actually. It is. It is
You
very
have
nice.
you have like director's chairs or a green room where you go and get like ready before filming.
We have director chairs, and then my office is actually built into the side of the set. So you go through a door, you walk in, and then it's my office. And yeah, in there I got a sweet latte machine, man.
Heck yeah.
Is
Yeah.
Espresso?
was that one of your demands? If you're
It was on your writer.
No, it was there when I got here. It's actually Frank Brownells' old latte machine, and it's old, but it works extremely well. It does like it'll froth your milk and stuff, man. It's so good.
fancy.
Yeah,
I mean, I would expect nothing less. So
that's what I'm saying.
here, I've got my kitchen in front of me, you know, and all that. Dogs, my dogs are well trained, so they're not barking. But
Must be nice.
yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, so the content creation side, gunsmithing side, let's talk. I mean, I see you everywhere. I'm the event coordinator. I go to a lot of events, but I think you go to like 3-4 times the events that I go to, and then you have the teaching stuff. I mean, how is all that for you? How do you find time to do all that? And talk about that a little bit.
I don't know, man. First of all, I don't think I go to more events than you because every time I go to an event, you're there, right? So you've got to be either we're going to the same exact number or you got to be going to more than me. But no, finding time is that's the balance, right? Because it's like I have a wife, 3 kids, you know, I'm doing this full time. And then my personal channel, honestly, I'm just doing that for fun. I don't even like really care to if something's got to be put aside, it's definitely going to be that. That's what gets all the delay whenever I need to find balance with all these things. But yeah, that's the tough part because I'm definitely a family man. You know, if I can get out of going to a trip, I usually take the out, if that makes sense. Which sounds terrible, but because I love doing it so much. But yeah, if I prioritize something, it definitely the wife and kids, man. That's where it's at.
I'm the same. I mean, I don't have any kids. Do have a wife and do have some family members here, and so we try to. Luckily, my wife is a night shift nurse, so she can kind of make her schedule around mine.
Yeah.
And, you know, she doesn't miss me that much when I'm gone anyway. So that also helps.
That's because we always see each other, and she knows you're in good hands because I'm there.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Christian will take care of you. That's fine.
I'll say, like, I think that's like one of the cool things about being in the firearms industry. If you can find the right places to work, you can have that life-work balance if you find the right place and the right career path.
Absolutely.
Make it work. Like in the firearms industry, I see a lot of guys are able to achieve that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
When you do go to shows, Caleb, like what is your goal when you go to like a show like NRA or SHOT Show?
Typically content creation. So for example, NRA, where we were all just at, right? We the goal there is content creation. So we were only there for a day and a half. So the first day we just shot a bunch of videos with vendors and then spent the rest of the time and I'll be honest with you, places like NRA show it's a double-edged sword, right? Because it's to get from one side of the floor to the other without being stopped 600 million times. Because me and Steve are walking across the floor. People stop us constantly. Look, I love you guys' videos. And then they want to talk with us, which makes it very difficult to get across the floor. But it's not something whenever we're there, that's what we prioritize, right? If we and that's why we don't schedule videos with vendors because we want to be able to take the time to talk to people whenever they approach us. So that's a really big aspect of it. I think that's something that a lot of creators overlook.
Yeah. And just to clarify, you're talking about your co-host, Steve, not.
Yeah. Steve.
I don't have that
Steve
problem. I
Ostrom.
can walk clearly across the NRA hall and no one stops me. It's
Right.
Yeah. So me and
usually when
Steve
people
Ostrom. Yep.
Yeah. When I get stopped, it's because my fly's down or something. So
Well, at least people
say
trying to help you out. You know?
Or to buy a milkshake.
Yes, my clothes don't fit. I get it, Steve. Well, now I know you've probably met a lot of people in your journeys at events and everything. Was there anybody in particular you shook hands with that really made an impact on you?
Oh, man, almost everybody. Because it's like whenever I talk to a lot of these people, they kind of like treat me as an equal, which is absolutely just blows my mind. Because I don't feel that way. Because I watch all of their content. I had no idea they were watching my content. So it's just absolutely mind-blowing. Like for example, at the NRA show, we walked in and Hickok 45 was kind of standing off to the side. This is, right when we got there. And he just kind of flagged us down. We went over to the side and we talked to him for 30 minutes before we even got our badges to get into the show. And because he wanted to chat with us. So it's just like little things like that are just absolutely mind-blowing.
Well, I asked you that question because actually talking with you was, one of the biggest impacts because, you meet a lot of people in this industry and most people are here to bring people up, and make connections. But you are one of the most genuine people I've met and one of the most knowledgeable people I've met because little story, this event coordinator did not make reservations for dinner one of the days at NRA. So we're traveling with 7 people trying to get into different spots. We go into this one spot. It's going to be an hour wait. We just say we give up. We're like, okay, let's just do this. However, I want to check one place. I go down the stairs. Caleb comes out, flags me down, and says, "Hey, you want to join us?" And I was like, "Yes, please." And so we go up and he's talking to us, telling us stories, and we had 2 grads with us and he's blowing their minds with the knowledge and the stories that he's telling. And it kind of gave them some goals and aspirations of what they want to achieve because one of them is content creator as well. So Thank you again for that, Caleb. And it just shows how actually genuinely amazing you are. It's going to make me tear up.
Well, I mean, I appreciate it. You're just, that's awesome. I'm glad I was able to do that for y'all. I was at the Brownells party. I saw y'all outside. Then I saw y'all walking away, and I was like, not today. So I went and grabbed y'all, and it was. I mean, that's. I can't it's weird for me because that was just kind of like a no-brainer. I was like, oh, the guys are out there. Let me go grab them. I didn't realize it would have such a huge impact, and it's just that's cool to hear.
Yeah, when we go to turn that into a movie, it's going to have the song "I Can Be Your Hero," and then here comes Love out the door. Because Christian, you could have easily told everybody nope, I had this planned all along.
Right.
Here we go.
Surprise.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I just wanted us to stop at 14 different places beforehand to really sell it.
Get the full Atlanta tour,
All right. Steve, what do you got?
Caleb, has there been a time where you're like, now this is it. I found my place in the industry. This is where I want to be. This is my big plans moving forward. Are you settled into where you are at Brownells, or what's next for you?
Yeah, no, I don't plan on going anywhere. This is like a better spot than I had ever expected. So yeah, I don't plan on going anywhere. This is it. What you see is that's me, man.
So what helped you realize that? Even going back over the last few years of going hey, I like doing this, to hey, I'm really good at this. I'm going to keep pushing forward to what you're doing now.
Yeah, it's a balance of all that, really, because typically when you like doing something, it's because you're good at it. Nobody likes doing stuff they're bad at, right? Or shouldn't, at least. If they do, then there's something.
Or it should be at least challenging too. That's how you get skills.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. So it's something you're good at. It's got to be a challenge, and then again, it goes back to that balance, right? You got to be able to. It's got to have time for you, what you want to do, and that time you need to spend with your family. The combination of those things is kind of really what sets it into play there, and that's what it is, man. So here I'm challenged every day. I feel like I'm good at it, right? I hope I'm good at this, and I'm having a blast doing it, man. And I'm working with some great people, and of course I get to go home to my family every night, spend time with my family. So. This is it.
You grew up in Louisiana, right?
I did, yep.
Do you miss it?
Sometimes. I always tell people Louisiana, or the South in general, really is a great place to visit, but not a great place to live. I do definitely miss my family, but living here in Iowa, I live in a small town in Iowa, a little town called Montezuma. If you blink, you'll miss it. There's no stoplights or anything in it. It's that small. And the small town life, I'm not giving it up. And we're right in the middle of Iowa City and Des Moines. So we're close to 2 big cities. So if we want to go actually do something, we're not that far of a drive from there. So it's although I miss family, this is it. And actually my in-laws are all moving up to Iowa now. So, yeah. because
Yay.
they want it. Yeah, they want a piece of what we got. They're moving up here.
Okay.
Do you have, so you live rural, do you have land you can shoot, all that?
No, I live like right in the middle of town almost, and like the town square is like something out of a Hallmark movie. So my wife absolutely loves it. And then when I want to go shoot, the Brownells range is about a 10-minute drive. And it's a very nice shooting facility. So I'm good to go there.
Is town for you like a Brownells town? Like, do you run into other people you work with? Like, is it
Oh, yeah, all the time.
an experience?
Yeah, yeah, between Montezuma and Grinnell, a very large portion of both people in those towns do work at Brownells. So I run into people all the time.
Now, for those who don't know, you are an SDI grad. You were actually the 2023 DEAC Graduate of the Year. But you guys have taken on two other SDI grads. You know, with them coming under your wing, really, what kind of stuff do you go over with them, with knowing that they have some base knowledge?
Yeah, so the way the gun tech situation works here, especially with your senior gun techs, everyone has their own specialty, something they're good at. And they're given the opportunity on occasion to basically host classes for the rest of the gun techs and be able to share that knowledge with them. So what makes the Brownells gun tech team so great isn't one individual gun tech. It's them being able to hire different professional or different specialty type gun techs that can all share their knowledge with each other. And that's what we're really doing here. And yeah, so with these newer SDI grads, I mean, we were doing some social media stuff promoting our gun techs, and one of the grads came in here. He had never even touched an AK-47 before, and we were doing like having him do some quick field strip. And I was like, "You ever had an AK?" He was like, "No, not yet. You know, that's something I'm looking into, kind of getting more knowledge on." I was like, "All right, cool." I showed him how to field strip it, let him do it a few times. We turned the camera on, and it was just like, boom, he got it. So I was like, "All right, sweet. This guy's got to get into some more AK stuff." Because he was just a natural at it. But yeah, just stuff like that, man. We're always trying to share knowledge.
So when you're hiring, you're almost like assembling the Avengers team. Like, you're filling in the gaps of where you know you need, the strength and some subject matter experts.
100%. Yep, that's exactly what it is.
And so here at SDI, I guess we don't have an expectation of your firearms level. So if you have a want in firearms, whether you have experience or not, we want you as a student to help you. What kind of advice would you have for somebody just getting in who has no knowledge but might be afraid, or I guess I can't even think of words because, like you say, words are hard, intimidated by getting into gunsmithing school?
Yeah, just spend a little bit of time on YouTube. And not only that, but expect that this is going to change, but figure out what area of firearms interests you the most, and pick that as the thing you're going to go into as like your expertise, if you will. And throughout your gunsmithing journey, expect that to change. Like, for example, if you think you're going to get into cowboy action type guns, and then for some reason, you may get into the gunsmithing path there, and then about halfway through realize, I like long range precision shooting instead, right? But have a goal is basically what I'm saying. Have a road you want to travel down, and then expect to take an exit or a pit stop or something. And read as many books as you can. There's books on all that stuff. There's some really good YouTube content out there, especially nowadays. But since I brought up the topic of books, a book everyone should read regardless is Hatcher's Notebook. So Julian Hatcher, it's basically all of his notes from his time in the Ordnance Corps and stuff like that. But that is a extremely valuable source of knowledge for everything firearm. It'll give you a good base understanding of firearms, and as well as a more advanced one if you read all the way through that book.
Do you still find yourself like, do you run into issues like, oh, I've never seen this before, I'm going to go either on YouTube, or I'm going to pull out an old resource manual, here's a diagram, like I need to go research this? Like, even today, no one is expecting you to know everything, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to stop and do that all the time, especially with some newer stuff. I was putting a RS Regulate mount on an AK yesterday, and I was like, I need to we hit the pause button because I don't know what I'm doing. I need to go check something out. But yeah, that happens. That happens. There's oftentimes, like if you watch the Brownells videos, I'll be installing a part on a gun, and I'll straight up look at the camera and say, I've never done this before, so we're gonna experience it for the first time together. And we purposely don't edit out some of the smaller things in there. Like I may try to fumble through something a little bit and then kind of figure it out right there live on camera. Not live, but right there on camera. We leave that in because that's genuine, right? That's something people can relate with. So it's pretty obvious I'm not perfect. And I don't really want it to come off as that way, right?
Well,
So
Christian is perfect, so he doesn't have to do this. But I know for
sure.
anybody else, like I think you're right. That is real life. Like either you do know enough that you're getting yourself into trouble, and like, oh, I need to slow down. I need to find out what I'm doing before I go a step further, or oh, shoot, I've gotten myself in trouble. Now I know what I've done wrong. I need to go find the tool or the resource, the diagram to get myself out of this hole I've dug myself into. And I think that's like the sign of someone who is a master at what they're doing. They can either realize before they made the mistake or, hey, I've gone too far. I need to fix this before taking another step.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, you're going to make mistakes. It's how you learn from those mistakes is kind of what determines your next step. So.
Well, on the other side of the person who knows really nothing about firearms, how do you feel a credential helps somebody who's, say, like you, been in the firearms industry 10 years before he went to school? You know, what's the advantages of that?
So yeah, I mean, credentials are extremely important for finding your next spot or finding your spot, right? Because like me, for example, if I was hiring a gunsmith, you better believe I'm gonna go through those credentials and I'm gonna pick the one with the best credentials. That's just kind of how it is. And I say pick the one with the best credentials. I mean, I'm gonna pick a couple with good credentials, bring them in for an interview, and then go from there. Because being able to interview well is also very important. So that's a whole nother conversation.
Steve, you got anything before I get into quick fires?
I'm sure I do. So if a new gunsmith has doubts of where to go for formal education, like I said, you've kind of seen some of the best, you've seen some of the worst. Is the worst thing they can do is just do nothing? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
So they're, dependent on. I know for us, like it's where you live. What resources do you have available to yourself? What can you access? How much of your life can you give up to go back to school to pursue an education and get training? There's many options to enter this industry and to be a really good gunsmith. Do yourself a favor, check all of those out. I'm glad someone like you, Caleb, has seen those different options, explored it. And thanks for sharing, those different paths with everybody. And then also showcasing, as content creator, some of the other routes you can go with a gunsmithing education. Doesn't mean with gunsmithing education, you have to be just a gunsmith. It's such a good foundation and a base to find the things that you may discover along the way you're passionate about. And I see that a lot with our graduates. They start even into a program, like you said, I'm going to do this because I need to learn more about firearms assembly or malfunction diagnosing. But then they find out, along the way, my goals have changed. I want to now open up a business. Now, all of a sudden, the business courses at SDI are really relevant and maybe not their first thing they wanted to do when they went back to school to go to a gunsmithing college, but all of a sudden, man, that is now my goal. So I think that's a great piece of advice you offered of, hey, have a goal in mind when you start, but be willing to adapt.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to starting your own business, that's definitely a great thing to do. But I would recommend working for someone else first, at least even if it's short term, just so you can see, because especially if you've never worked in a gun shop or worked in a gunsmith business, just so you can see how it operates. And then you'll get a really good feel for what to do, what not to do, what route you want to take with your particular business. Because that's another big mistake I see a lot of new gunsmiths make, is they finish, whatever gunsmithing education they do. then they immediately go and start their own business. And again, they bite off more than they can chew. Whenever possible, I always recommend working for someone else first. Like I said, even if it's just for a short time.
Well, that brings up a good question. So and I know you did a video on this, which was great. If you cannot be a traditionally trained gunsmith and work under somebody, what should somebody think about when they're thinking about, should I go to a ground campus for gunsmithing school as opposed to an online campus, I guess? Yeah.
Yes. So, going to an online gunsmithing school, just like going to any other online school, right? You're doing it because there are certain limitations, certain, time limitations, different things like that prevent you, especially distance limitations, that prevent you from actually going to an on-campus school. And that's where the online schools really shine, especially nowadays with the quality of video production, just the ease of communication flow over the internet. Like, it is absolutely insane. You can transfer so much knowledge now, that online school is such a viable option. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not always the best option, because if you live, really close to an in-person campus, absolutely go to that. But that's not a good situation for everyone.
I didn't attend SDI, so I haven't gone to online gunsmithing school, but I do have a 4-year degree in marketing, and I also have a master's degree. I did my master's online when I was living outside the country. I can tell you, like, when I started that online program, I'm like, hey, man, how am I going to do this? You definitely have challenges, like internet connection, having a setup of how to go to school and be, not distracted by home life type of things. Man, I tell you, once it clicked in my brain of how to learn online, like, oh, it's totally different. You're not just sitting in a classroom absorbing the materials from the instructor anymore. You do have to be proactive in your involvement of the learning. And then when I went to go do like tests and assignments, like, I remember it working for me when I had to think of it like, oh, I'm not just learning, I'm having to teach it back to the instructor in a way that I'm the expert and I'm trying to teach someone who is not. And I felt like that was the moment where, like, oh, I'm learning this in a totally different way. And once that clicked for me, I was a much better student at an online college than I ever was in my in-person traditional college. However, both of those required extra work. I couldn't just do the bare minimum I asked for. You had to say, how am I going to apply this in real life? And then all of a sudden, that is like the firecracker moment of like, oh, this is where I can apply this knowledge. This is why it's applying to me and how it can be effective.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you treat it like it's going to matter the rest of your life, because it is, then you get way more out of it.
Oh, especially nowadays, like, and school is not cheap. Like, you're paying for it one way or the other, no matter what. I mean, take it for what it is and get as much as you can out of it. The tools are there.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. You nailed it.
And not a lot of community colleges have gunsmithing programs, but a lot do have machining courses. So, one viable thing could be doing one and then the other. So online education here at SDI, and then machining, or machining and then online education at SDI.
Yeah, I heard that a lot of SDI hopefully SDI is a first step for many people, but I don't want SDI to ever be someone's last step into this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because like the first thing I recommend when someone gets out of a online gunsmithing school, whether it be SDI, MGS, whatever, I always recommend, okay, next step is to go to your local community college and take some machining courses.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap it up. I want to do the gun rack quickfire questions with Caleb Savant. So, are you ready?
Pause for music.
Does it matter?
We need some music.
I guess I could edit music in there, but anyway, I think that was better.
No, your version was way better. Yeah.
All right. So, what is your current EDC, and what mods, if any, are a must-have?
Oh, so my current is a Springfield Hellcats Pro, and I got a lot of mods on it. I got the Zafiri slide, Tyrant trigger, Tyrant slide catch, and then a hollow sun on it. So it's completely modded out. The only thing stock on that gun is the frame.
It's no surprise there. All right.
Sorry.
Do you have any routines or habits that help you stay focused or grounded with everything that you have going on?
Coffee.
Same. Yep.
That's it. That's the habit.
My question is, you have $1,000 to spend on gun platform and accessories. What gun do you buy and build?
Oh man. Probably just AR-15, man. It's just there's so much out there. That's the one thing. Like if you give me a budget and say this is the money to make it your own, that's the one I can most easily do that with.
Now, unlimited budget, what gun?
Ooh, probably like a tricked out like Mannlicher Schnauer with like double set triggers and like crazy caliber, like
Do you spend the
something like
money on like the custom gold inlet engravings?
yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's gonna be engraved.
Does that make you a better shooter, or does that just make you happy?
Well, being happy makes you a better shooter, so both. Yeah, it's not some weird caliber like 38-55, something I can hunt deer with here in Iowa. So yeah, that would be it.
We talked about you growing up in Louisiana, now living in Iowa. Where's the best place to get gumbo in Iowa?
My kitchen.
Okay.
Not
So
even
yeah,
joking.
we'll post his address in the comments. So if you need some good gumbo, go to Caleb's
Let me know.
house.
Let me know in advance. I'm not gonna
Right.
cook it while you're there.
Okay. Looking ahead, is there anything on your personal bucket list that you're hoping to check off?
Honestly, really just more schooling, more just taking some more classes, not just gunsmithing classes. I also want to do like some different like tactical training classes and stuff like that. But there's always something that's next, man. When it comes to learning stuff, I'm never content. So
If you were a practicing gunsmith at the shop, customer walks in and asks you to do X, what would you always say no to and why?
anyone walks in with a Remington 742, that's not cycling. I'm always gonna say no. I'm gonna say no, thank you.
Why is that?
I did warranty work for Remington for a little over 2 years. And the way they actually designed that gun, the gas system and the locking lugs on the bolts into the barrel, if there's just a little bit of rust or a little bit of restriction or anything in that chamber holding up the extraction, it will absolutely destroy those locking lugs. And it is pretty much impossible to fix it, to match them back up, to find something, a barrel extension or a bolt to match them back up, because they machine those together at the factory. And that is just one of the worst semi-automatic rifles ever designed, in my opinion.
And you have like a gunsmithing enemy that you're like, yep, Fred down the road, he would do it for you. He's
Actually, no. So there were, especially like in Baton Rouge, because like I'm in Baton Rouge. At the time, down the road was Red Jacket, and then two other larger shops. We were the biggest shop, but there were two other larger shops, and little shops would pop up all the time, and they would try to like almost like turn us against each other. And then like for some reason, every new gunsmith shop's marketing strategy is to crap on all the other shops in the area. But they never lasted because all of us bigger shops, we were all friends. We were all sending work to each other, because like if somebody wanted to get something integrally suppressed, we'd be like, cool, go down the road to Red Jacket, check it out. If someone wants a gun restored, Red Jacket would be like, cool, take that up to Renterson's, they'll help you out. So we were all helping each other out. So these little shops were absolutely getting destroyed every time they tried to stomp on us. So I don't remember what the question was, but I feel like that's a good answer.
All right. So final question. You have a poster of Val Kilmer in Heat on your wall.
It's
Why
in my
that
office,
poster?
yeah.
Oh, in your office? Okay.
Yeah, that's in my office.
Why that poster, and what lesson should we all learn from Heat? Because it is a great movie.
Every lesson ever in life, if you ever question anything you're about to do in life, just think about the movie Heat, and there's probably an answer in there. And that poster, because I was trying to set like that, you got to walk through my office to get into the studio, and I'm trying to set a vibe for guests, and they walk in, that's the first thing they see, that sets the vibe, right? So that's why.
Well, you set the vibe today. So good job.
Exactly. The hair always sets the vibe. Well, Caleb,
Well, Caleb, do you have any questions for us?
I actually, no, I was trying to think of something. I got nothing.
yeah. I wouldn't have liked that either because I'm already sweating. I would have gotten nervous and then had to take the jacket off, and I'm not wearing an undershirt, so that would have been a bad look.
What make is the jackets here, guys? What make?
It's just Kenneth Cole. Kenneth Cole. You know.
Some Kenny. We call that Kenny K. You got some
Kenny
Kenny K. Is it a C or a K?
No,
Cole
it's a C. But I wasn't going to
Okay.
say anything, so we could have, just
We
went
call
with
it Kenny K anyway.
Mine is Men's Warehouse Big and Tall section.
Oh, you're gonna love the way you look.
I guarantee.
Is that what is that the thing in their commercial? Men's Warehouse.
think
You're gonna
so.
look. You're gonna like the way you look.
I guarantee it.
Shout out Men's Warehouse.
There you go.
All right, Caleb, where can people go to find you on your personal and obviously your Brownells And where are you going to next?
Yeah, so social media, Baron Von Savant. Facebook is just my name. YouTube is just my name. Of course, Brownells YouTube. And probably X as well, but I don't remember because I'm not on there often. But yeah, that's the places.
I don't do that either. I'm not on X very often. So, okay. Well, that does it for today's episode, everybody. If you are interested in more information about our programs here at SDI, and potentially become DEAC Graduate of the Year, just like Caleb Savant, go to sdi.edu, hit request information, talk to one of our admissions reps, and get your questions answered. But for Steve, thank you, Caleb, again. I've been Christian, and that's been the Gun Rack. We'll see you in the next episode. Wave bye, everybody. That's not a wave.
Listen.